Here's the big story from the Washington Examiner. Mark Zuckerberg admits censorship and vows to curb election donations. Zuckerberg said in his most explicit criticism yet of the Biden White House that senior officials repeatedly pressured the tech billionaire's company to suppress content related to COVID-19 on its Facebook platform in 2021. Senior officials from the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. He said he believed the pressure from the White House, which came to light through a sweeping lawsuit brought by two Republican attorneys general in 2022, was wrong, that he regretted not being more vocal about it, and that he made misinformed content moderation choices, and that his company would push back on any future pressure. Now, I find this really funny that he's saying that because he also mentions the FBI warned us in a separate situation about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead up to the 2020 elections. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story reporting on the corruption allegations involving then Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear the reporting was not Russian disinformation, and in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story. But also the fact checkers claimed it was. They said, was it 50 intel agents said it had all the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation story. Now, what I want to throw out there, because we've got this letter here from the House Judiciary. He says they're gonna be more forceful and push back in the future. Yeah, I think it's clear what Mark Zuckerberg fears. The only reason he's calling this out now is because he thinks Donald Trump is going to win, and he's got to back off a little bit. But he's also kind of saying it, right? If Trump wins in the future, don't worry, Mark Zuckerberg will be sure to push back. But this is actually pretty big news to hear that Mark Zuckerberg is basically saying the Harris-Biden administration repeatedly pressured them to censor content, including humor and satire, and they ultimately did. And that's what the House Judiciary GOP says, that Biden and Harris pressured Facebook to censor Americans. They did censor Americans, and they throttled the Hunter Biden laptop story. This is a big win for free speech, I suppose, so long as we can enforce stopping Facebook from doing these things in the future. But now, I suppose, with whatever Zuckerberg's worried about, we still have X. Rumble called this out. This is fantastic news. And so we're hoping that with these huge shifts in social media policy, at least the fear from people like Zuckerberg, maybe we won't have as much interference in this upcoming election.
But then you have to trust Mark Zuckerberg, which I have such a hard time doing. I mean, it's good that the letter is out there on its face because the admission is important. But I think that Mark Zuckerberg is kind of acting opportunistically, right? If he thinks Trump is going to win, or if he thinks maybe mainstream culture is leaning more right wing and he wants to regain his footing. I mean, he's not a popular guy on the internet. He's often the butt of a lot of jokes. And so trying to posture as like this free speech advocate after, probably being involved in a lot more than he's admitting to, it's just so hard for me to be like, yeah, good job, Mark. We'll take one for the team.
I can see what you're saying with that, with Zuckerberg and not really trusting him, but he has had some changes over the summer. We were just talking before the show. He started working out, like that's sort of a thing. He's like all into his health now, which is oddly a conservative perspective these days. But also after the assassination attempt against Donald Trump on July 13th, he apparently called Trump, said he would not be supporting Democrats this year. He already said that he would not be using the platform the same way for political purposes. And he called Trump a badass after that attempt. He was very vocal about that, saying that when Trump raised his fist like that, he was a badass, which, I mean, he obviously was. You don't think Zuckerberg...
It did not sound sincere.
You don't think so?
No.
I thought it did sound sincere.
When he was like, when Trump raised his fist, that was badass. I was just like, this guy's scared.
It feels like Mike Tyson famously said everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. It feels like he's anticipating that punch. This does feel opportunistic to me. Yep. I think the proof is in the pudding. Once the mainstream media and everybody else in the world starts coming for Zuckerberg like they're coming for Elon Musk, then we'll know that he's made meaningful change. Until then, it's just all talk. And by the way, look, if you look at my Instagram account right now, it'll say this guy shares misinformation on a regular basis, which is an absolute load of crap. I share truth on a regular basis. So stop the censorship. And once the enemies of free speech, once they start coming for you, then we'll know that you're one of us.
Well, they've been investigating, the House Judiciary has been investigating Zuckerberg and Facebook for over a year. They launched their investigation in April 2023.
So he knows it's coming.
So he knows it's coming, and Jordan has been releasing Facebook files this whole time showing the censorship and suppression.
And so he calls Trump and says, no, I'm backing off. You know, he's basically saying, truce, man.
Well,
even in his letter, he talks about the Zuckerbucks, right? He was saying, you know, through the Chan Zuckerberg Family Foundation, I think is what it's called. Or
Initiative, the Chan Zuckerberg.
You know, he's saying, I donated this money because of COVID and to ensure all of these things. And even then, no one believed this, right? Like, no one thought Mark Zuckerberg was just altruistically being like, I just want democracy to be okay. Like,
Not a chance.
everyone knew he had a political bent. And it's just, you know, it's very hard for me, and maybe I wish I could be more open-minded. Libby's obviously much more forgiving than I am, but
I'm
you know,
super forgiving. It's like it's almost a flaw.
well, that's the thing. Like the summer before an election year, you're sort of like, oh, I too have questions about the government, even though I have worked with them for a long time. I mean, I think probably Mark Zuckerberg could tell you that he worked with the Obama administration. That's just my opinion. It's now that the Biden-Harris administration is so deeply unpopular that I think he is starting to say, like, no, I'm one of you guys. Please come back and use Facebook again.
What does it mean that you're going to tone down donations anyway? It's a very relative statement. If you're going to quit getting involved, quit getting involved. Say, look, I'm done with this black and white issue. I'm not accepting donations anymore. No more Zuckerbucks. I'm not going to interfere with the election. Or it's, look, I'm still doing what I did last time, just not as much. If you're toning it down, but if it's $100 billion is coming in, I'm toning it down, I'm only taking $30 billion. What does it really mean? You're still messing around. So stop, step aside, become an advocate for actual free speech, or you're just talking about it.
I don't buy this for a second. I think the dude's scared. I think he sees Donald Trump winning. He knows that when Trump does win, they're going to get a DOJ investigation for election interference, manipulation, collusion, and that I don't think we go as far as to see, you know, a lot of people are thinking Trump's going to arrest Hillary or, nah, it didn't happen the first time. It's not going to happen again. I don't think Zuckerberg is going to get arrested. I don't think Trump weaponizes the DOJ or anything like that. I think it's investigated. I think it's a fine. And it's going to be bad for the shareholders. And he's going like, crap. Trump wasn't supposed to win. He wasn't supposed to come back. Now they can't get a handle on things. He's like, we shouldn't have done this. Take a look at this. He says, I'll read that portion where he talks about Zuckerbucks. He says, I want to address the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. The idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they needed to help people vote safely during a global pandemic. I made these contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. They were designed to be nonpartisan, spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analyses I've been showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over another. Where there have been reports that on election day, for instance, all Democrats received a notification saying, make sure to go vote. And only somewhere around 68 or 70% of Republicans got the same notification. That is 100% intentional manipulation. You don't accidentally not send certain voters a reminder to go vote. And it's actually absolutely insane if you think about it. You have 200 people, let's say, hypothetical group, 100 Democrats, 100 Republicans. And Facebook says on the top of every Democrat, put go vote and don't send anything to Republicans. Now, a lot of Republicans will remember to go vote, but those that don't will forget. They'll go, oh, that was election day.
Right.
And all those Democrats are going to see it and they're going to be like, yeah, I'll go vote. That's manipulation. That's extreme.
Especially in a game of inches. You know,
right.
Everything is inches, right? So
what was Georgia? 12,500 votes?
Yeah, something like that.
It's narrow. It makes a big difference. I want there to be a redemption arc for a lot of people. I think there are sort of default Democrat institutions where maybe people don't think critically about what they have agreed to because they always think of themselves this one way and so they just vote with the party. I just find Mark Zuckerberg in particular to be a not very trustworthy person because similar to what you're talking about, I think we all know people who have experienced specific targeted political censorship on a meta-related platform and they just get no answer from Facebook. It's great that the House committee got some answers out of him, but there's so much to Facebook, especially because at least for a long time, it really was the dominant social media platform. So many things became integrated with Facebook that just the amount of data that they collect and the way that they're able to use that against their users is kind of intimidating.
Sure. And there's a big difference in between when somebody volunteers an apology. Listen, guys, I should not have done this. I got this wrong. And, oh, by the way, I'm being investigated. Probably shouldn't have did that. I promise to change. I mean, give me a break. If it doesn't come from your inner soul, if it doesn't come from your own experience in life, look, I got it wrong. There's some contrition there, then I'm just not buying it. I'm not seeing it here.
Yeah, I don't buy it for a second. He's just scared. He's scared that Donald Trump's going to get in and it's going to be bad news for Facebook. But I'll take it. Look, you don't need to forgive the guy, but you can say, okay, all right, that's it. We're going to keep an eye on you and don't make any, don't play these stupid, dirty games again. Mm-hmm. But it's good that Mark Zuckerberg is scared. It means that we're going to have a level playing field this time around. At least we can hope.
More than last time anyway, for sure.
Sure, but I'm also worried this is just the sheepskin, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is him saying, oh, yeah, you guys, don't worry. And then he's turning around to the guys and be like, double our efforts. Trump cannot win. Because if he really is scared, why wouldn't he stop? He's going to keep going and try to make sure Trump doesn't win.
That's why I go back to sometimes just more conservative positions socially are trendy, and he's aware of that enough to want to seem like someone that he doesn't want to lose users to. I mean, I think there are a lot of people who are moderate to conservative voters in America who don't want to use Facebook. Facebook is an actively dying social media platform. He needs middle America to trust him enough, and maybe this is the only way he can sort of turn the tide on that. I think generally, probably it's more selfish. There's probably some sort of personal risk that he's facing that he's willing to sort of change his positioning on. But it would be fascinating if, celebrities and sort of tech tycoons or whatever decided that they were just actively going to become non-political going forward, because that's what he's saying in the letter. Like, I want to be neutral. I don't want to do anything. Like,
well, he's saying that about the platform, not necessarily himself.
He's saying that he doesn't want to donate, and that's like his personal use. Like the Chan Zuckerberg initiative is private.
There may be some good news buried in this too, depending on what is true or what you want to believe. Zuckerberg started working out. Mm-hmm. Got a little bit of tan. Wasn't he growing some facial hair?
A little bit. Growing his hair out a little bit.
Growing his hair out a little bit. And people were like, whoa, what's going on with Zuckerberg? He used to look like a pale-skinned robot. Now he's starting to look like a normal dude. I wonder if, two things potentially, the internet got to him. He did not like being made fun of and compared to robots all the time. So he decided he's got to get a tan and start working out. Or it could be that boots on the ground sentiment is so overwhelmingly pro-Trump that on the internet they can lie about it. But maybe Mark Zuckerberg's just going out to these neighborhoods and they're all pro-Trump.
And also, I mean, he hangs out with tech guys. There's a lot of Silicon Valley guys who are pro-Trump.
Mm-hmm. And he's probably sitting in their midst and they're like, oh, shut up, Mark. You helped Biden win. And he's like, oh, I didn't do it, I swear. Stop making fun of me. And they're like, yeah, dude, look at this mess we're in. Look at the economy. Look at the stagnation. You were the one who wanted, no, I swear, I won't. He could just be socially pressured and embarrassed.
Well, he could also finally be like manning up a little bit and realize he doesn't like getting pushed around by the man.
And it didn't do him any favors, right? Because ultimately he became a villain to his customers.
And to his employees,
And you pointed out before the show, I mean, he does have children, although I think his children are like middle school age now. Maybe it is just like slowly maturing and evolving to see the thing that you thought you were doing that was good is actually not good.
Yeah, I mean, he started Facebook in college, so his politics must have changed over the years since then.
I think there's a lot to say for the jiu-jitsu crowd that he's rolling around with right now. That is, hey, you put in work and you get results, right? There's nothing really paternalistic about that. You get what you put into that situation. And that crowd is a very, at best, politically agnostic. Otherwise, it's to the right. And I think a lot of his colleagues that he's rolling with, a lot of his colleagues that he's training with, there's a lot of time when you're rolling on the mat or you're sitting to the side and you're taking a breather and you're just talking about life and you're talking about whatever. And if he's looking to these guys like, I want to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, I want to beat this guy, I want to make this guy tap out, and they all see the world differently than me, then maybe to some extent that's having an influence on him as well.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.